Tazarotene versus tretinoin, which one should you use? Let's break it down. Let's provide you the evidence and the information to help you decide which one you may want. Of course, with the help of a medical provider. TLDR, I think Tazarotene ekes out a minor benefit over high-strength tretinoin 0.1%, slightly larger benefit over mid-strength tretinoin 0.05%, and the greatest benefit over low-strength tretinoin 0.025%. But if you're starting out, I would say start with tretinoin, max it out before going to a Tazarotene, especially because it irritates your skin. Let's make things a little bit more complicated now. Tazarotene and tretinoin are both retinoids. They're both derivatives of vitamin A, and they go through the retinoic acid pathway. Tretinoin is the quintessential retinoid. It is the synthetic version of retinoic acid, the enzyme in our body that binds to the receptors and has all the downstream effects that we think of with retinoids: anti-aging, decreasing dark spots, helping with wrinkles, treating acne. Tazarotene is a synthetic retinoid, so basically they took the molecule tretinoin and they said, how can we change this, try and make it more specific towards the receptors we want, perhaps other things like more stable. And Tazarotene is the third generation version of it. It specifically targets retinoic acid receptors beta and gamma. In terms of evaluating studies for photoaging, most of the studies compared Tazarotene 0.1% to tretinoin 0.05%. So we don't have a lot of studies comparing Tazarotene to tretinoin 0.1%, but in those studies of 0.05% tretinoin versus Tazarotene, Tazarotene seems to eke out a minor advantage. You might have improvement sooner than tretinoin, and you might have a mild but significant overall greater advantage using Tazarotene. There are some pretty good studies where they compared Tazarotene to placebo, and they showed that Tazarotene does have substantial anti-aging benefits. They even did histological analysis and showed that it can help with anti-aging. So overall, Tazarotene's I think pretty well proven that it has anti-aging benefits. And then in terms of acne, Tazarotene again seems to usually eke out an advantage over tretinoin, but there was one study comparing tretinoin 0.4% microsphere versus Tazarotene, and the tretinoin did better in that one study. Unfortunately, though, a lot of these studies compared Tazarotene to tretinoin 0.025%, and I think that's an unfair comparison. There isn't as much comparison between Tazarotene and adapalene. There's one study that showed adapalene 0.3% and Tazarotene had a similar efficacy for acne. Another weird study looked at Tazarotene and acne, and it found that once daily use of Tazarotene is stronger than once daily use of low-strength tretinoin 0.025%. But then they did a weird thing. They compared Tazarotene every other day to once daily low-strength adapalene 0.1%, and they found that every other day Tazarotene was the same as low-strength adapalene. It's kind of mixed what to think about that. And then one acne study looked at Tazarotene 0.1% versus tretinoin 0.1% microsponge and found that Tazarotene was stronger than the microsponge version of tretinoin 0.1%. One interesting thing about Tazarotene is it is also approved for use in patients with psoriasis and can truly help with psoriasis. One thing that's important to note is that Tazarotene is not for the faint of heart, the thin of skin, and the prone to irritation, because most of these studies, people were more likely to have irritation when using Tazarotene than when compared to tretinoin and adapalene. And of course, any retinoid is better than no retinoid, so use whatever one that your skin tolerates. If you've tried everything, if you tried tretinoin 0.1% and you're just not getting enough, then try out Tazarotene, but don't go to it as your first option. Like all retinoids, it is in general recommended not to use during pregnancy or when trying to conceive. Interestingly, Tazarotene was pregnancy category X, while tretinoin and adapalene was pregnancy category C, because there were some studies demonstrating that Tazarotene has a higher likelihood of getting into your bloodstream. But just don't use it during pregnancy or when trying to conceive. It's not worth it. So hopefully that was helpful. What do you guys think? Comment, like, share with your friends. Please give me a follow and let me know what you want to hear next. Have a great day, and don't forget to slap cheeks.